Hi, everyone. Welcome back to the English Learning Podcast. I'm Sarah, your host, and I'm so glad to have you here today. We've got an exciting topic lined up for you: how to learn English naturally. This is a big one because so many of you have asked for tips on learning English in a more natural, effortless way.
Hey, Sarah. Hey, everyone. I'm Bill, your co-host, and I couldn't agree more. Learning English naturally is such an important topic because so many learners struggle with feeling stuck in textbooks or memorizing grammar rules.
Exactly, Bill. Natural language learning is about making English a part of your life rather than just something you study. In today's episode, we'll be sharing practical tips and techniques on how to immerse yourself in English and pick it up just like native speakers do.
We'll cover listening practices, speaking without fear, immersion strategies, and even how to develop a natural accent. Whether you're just starting out or looking to make your English sound more fluent and effortless, we've got you covered.
Absolutely. So get comfortable, grab a cup of tea or coffee, and let's dive into the world of natural English learning. You're going to love this episode.
And remember, if you enjoy our content, don't forget to hit the like button, subscribe to our channel, and share your thoughts in the comments below. We love hearing from you.
All right, let's get started. So, Bill, let's start by explaining what we mean when we say learning English naturally. What exactly does that mean?
Great question, Sarah. Learning English naturally means acquiring the language in a way that feels effortless, like how children learn their first language. It's about picking up English through real-life use, rather than just studying grammar rules or vocabulary lists.
Exactly. It's like being exposed to English so much that you start understanding and using it without thinking too much. You don't memorize sentences, you just know them because you've heard them so often.
Right? And that's how native speakers learn. They listen, speak, and interact naturally from a young age. They don't sit with textbooks, but instead learn through experience.
That's such an important point. And for our listeners, this means focusing on listening to real English, trying to speak without overthinking, and making English a part of your daily life.
Absolutely. We're going to show you exactly how you can do this in your own language journey. But first, let's talk about why this method is so powerful compared to traditional methods.
Yes, Bill. Traditional methods can sometimes feel boring and hard because they rely heavily on memorization and strict rules. But natural learning is fun, interactive, and more effective.
It really is. And it also builds your confidence because you're not just learning about English, you're actually using it.
Perfectly said, Bill. So let's break this down further and show you how you can start learning English naturally, step by step.
Sounds good. Let's start with one of the most important aspects: listening.
So, Bill, why is listening such a big part of learning English naturally?
That's a great question, Sarah. Listening is actually the foundation of language learning. When you listen to English regularly, your brain starts recognizing patterns, sounds, and common phrases, even without trying too hard.
Right. And it's not just about listening actively, like studying or taking notes, but also passive listening, like hearing English in the background while doing other things.
Exactly! Passive listening helps you get used to the rhythm and flow of English. It's like your brain is training itself without you even realizing it.
What are some practical ways our listeners can include more English listening in their daily lives?
Well, podcasts like this one, movies, TV shows, music, audiobooks, and even conversations with native speakers. The key is to choose things you enjoy, so it doesn't feel like a chore.
I love that point. When you enjoy what you're listening to, you're naturally motivated to listen more, which speeds up your learning.
And don't worry if you don't understand everything at first. The important thing is to keep listening regularly. Over time, your comprehension will improve naturally.
That's such a comforting thought for learners who get frustrated easily. Consistency is key.
Absolutely, Sarah. Also, try to listen to different accents and speaking speeds. It helps your brain become flexible and better at understanding real-world English.
Great tip, Bill. So to sum up, listening is essential because it builds your understanding and prepares you for natural speaking.
And it's fun, too. So put on your favorite English podcast or song and let your brain soak it all in.
Bill, one of the biggest challenges for English learners is speaking without fear. Why do you think that is?
That's so true, Sarah. Many learners are afraid of making mistakes or sounding silly, so they avoid speaking altogether. But fear actually blocks natural learning and progress.
Exactly. When you're scared of speaking, you don't practice enough, and that slows down your improvement. So how can our listeners overcome this fear?
First, they need to accept that making mistakes is a natural part of learning. Everyone makes mistakes, even native speakers. It's actually how we get better.
That's a great mindset. Also, starting small helps. Speaking with yourself, practicing simple sentences, or even shadowing, repeating after native speakers, can build confidence.
Right? And finding supportive people to practice with is key. Whether it's language exchange partners, tutors, or friends, having a safe environment encourages you to speak freely.
And don't forget to celebrate small wins. Every time you speak, you're improving, even if it's just a little.
Absolutely. The goal is progress, not perfection. Speaking regularly, even if it's imperfect, helps your brain get used to forming sentences naturally.
So, our listeners should remember, fear is normal, but don't let it stop you from speaking. The more you practice, the more natural it becomes.
Exactly. And over time, you'll find yourself speaking more confidently and fluently without overthinking.
Bill, immersion is a term we hear a lot when it comes to language learning. Can you explain what it really means?
Absolutely, Sarah. Immersion means surrounding yourself with English as much as possible, so it becomes a natural part of your daily environment.
Right. It's like creating a little English-speaking world around you, even if you're not in an English-speaking country.
Exactly. This could mean watching English movies and shows, listening to English music or podcasts, reading books or articles in English, and even changing the language settings on your phone or social media.
Those are great ideas. Immersion helps your brain get used to the language patterns and vocabulary naturally, without the pressure of studying.
Yes, and the more you expose yourself to English in different ways, the faster you'll learn. It's like learning to swim by being in the water rather than just reading about it.
I love that analogy, Bill. Immersion is active and passive at the same time. You're learning even when you're just enjoying entertainment or browsing online.
And don't forget about practicing with real people too. Conversations, language exchange groups, or even chatting online can be powerful immersion tools.
Definitely. Creating a natural English environment helps your brain think in English, which is the ultimate goal of natural learning.
So listeners, try to fill your day with English activities and watch your skills grow without it feeling like hard work.
Bill, vocabulary is often one of the biggest challenges learners face. How can they develop their vocabulary naturally?
That's a great question, Sarah. The key is to learn new words in context, not just by memorizing long lists. When you see or hear words in real situations, they stick better.
Absolutely. Reading books, watching shows, or listening to podcasts expose you to new vocabulary in meaningful ways. It's easier to remember words when you understand how they're used.
And don't be afraid to use new words right away, even if you're not 100% sure. Using vocabulary helps you remember it and makes it part of your natural language.
Also, learning phrases or chunks of language instead of single words can be more useful. For example, learning "I'm looking forward to" rather than just the word "looking."
That's a really good point. It helps with fluency and makes your English sound more natural.
What about tools like flashcards or apps? Are they helpful for natural learning?
They can be, as long as you use them to review words you've encountered naturally, not just random lists. The goal is to connect new vocabulary to real experiences.
Great advice, Bill. So, focusing on context, using words actively, and learning phrases are all key to building vocabulary naturally.
Exactly. And remember, vocabulary grows over time with consistent exposure and use.
Bill, many learners want to improve their accent to sound more natural. How can they do that without feeling overwhelmed?
That's a common goal, Sarah. The key is to focus on listening carefully and imitating the sounds, rhythm, and intonation of native speakers, rather than trying to sound perfect right away.
So, it's more about copying the melody and flow of the language?
Exactly. Practicing with tools like shadowing, where you listen and repeat right after a speaker, can really help. It trains your mouth and brain to work together naturally.
That sounds helpful. What about pronunciation mistakes? Should learners worry too much?
Not really. Making mistakes is part of the process. The goal is to be understood and to feel confident, not to sound exactly like a native speaker.
I love that. So, developing a natural accent is a gradual process, and consistent practice is what matters most.
Absolutely. The more you listen and practice, the more natural your accent will become over time.
Absolutely. The more you listen and practice, the more natural your accent will become over time.
Of course, Sarah. First, immerse yourself daily. Listen, read, and speak as much English as you can. Second, don't fear mistakes. They're part of learning. Third, find topics and materials you enjoy to keep motivation high.
Great tips. And remember, consistency beats intensity. Even 10 to 15 minutes a day can make a big difference.
Absolutely. And if anyone has questions or wants to share their experiences, please leave a comment. We love hearing from you.
Thanks so much for joining us today. Keep practicing, stay curious, and remember, learning English naturally is a journey, not a race.
That's right. See you next time on the English Learning Podcast on TT.